Welcome to this Explainer. Today we're unrolling an incredibly rich historical tapestry. We're going to dive into a 300-year, multi-generational saga of the Allery family. It's an amazing story of ambition, heartbreak, and resilience, watching a family navigating sweeping historical changes, from quiet coastal shores all the way to the absolute beating heart of the British Empire.
So how exactly does a family go from being rural ship suppliers to wealthy London elites to ultimately dying in a public infirmary? Well, to answer that, we're using a classic three-act documentary structure: the setup, the development, and the climax. It's honestly the absolute best way to piece together these historical clues and really feel the emotional journey this family went on across the centuries.
Act 1. The setup.
Our story begins in the late 18th century, right in the peaceful, maritime world of Dartmouth, Devon. Just imagine the air thick with salt spray, where life is completely dictated by the changing seasons and the sea. This is where we meet Samuel Allery. He worked as a chandler, and in a busy port town, a chandler was kind of like the invisible thread keeping the whole maritime economy moving. Samuel built the family's humble but absolutely essential foundation by supplying the exact goods, the rope, the canvas, the lamp oil that kept local ships seaworthy.
Before we get into the gritty details, just look at the sheer scale of the leap this family took. We're talking about starting in the 1790s in Devon, moving to London in the 1840s, hitting a massive peak of wealth in 1922, and then a tragic crash in 1929. We aren't just tracking a change of address here. We're talking about a massive leap across social classes and historical eras.
Act 2. A London tailoring dynasty.
So, Samuel's son, William, decides he's going to break the mold. He leaves the coast behind and leaps right into the roaring, smoking engine of 1840s London, smack in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. Trading his father's ropes for needle and thread, William completely reinvented himself as a master tailor. He arrived with a ton of ambition, ultimately serving London's booming merchant classes. And this single bold move, it set the stage for a true golden age for the family.
This foundation of hard work literally exploded into massive prosperity with William's son, Samuel John Allery. Samuel John basically perfected the craft. When he died in 1922, he left behind a fortune of nearly £10,000. Now, to put that into perspective, in 1922 money, that is dynasty-level wealth. It really represented the absolute peak of the family's financial ascent.
But Samuel John didn't just build a financial empire, he built an empire of people. Between his thriving tailoring business, 2 marriages, and 13 children, he created a sprawling family tree that cemented their place in London society. They had well and truly arrived.
Act 3. The Angel Estate obsession.
But as with any compelling narrative, every family has its tragedy, right? While Samuel John was busy building his empire, his brother, William Adrian Allery, became consumed by something else entirely. He firmly believed the family were the rightful heirs to the incredibly valuable Angel Estate. He based his entire reality on a 1711 marriage certificate he found in a Dartmouth church. And this wasn't just a quirky hobby. It became a ruinous, lifelong obsession. Just picture this wild spectacle making national news in 1929. William Adrian, an 84-year-old pensioner, actually marched into Brixton and physically seized 2 houses, claiming the rents for himself. He launched these massive, high-profile court battles against the ecclesiastical commissioners, pouring all of his resources and, honestly, his sanity into a claim the legal system simply refused to acknowledge. It's such a brutal, tragic divergence between the 2 brothers. On one hand, you have Samuel John meticulously building a fortune and a massive family. On the other, William Adrian, who ultimately died penniless in a public poor law infirmary in the 1930s after the courts finally rejected his claims. It's a heartbreaking contrast between grand illusions and a really tragic end.
The modern epilogue: resurrecting the past.
So you might be wondering, how do we actually know all these deeply personal details from 3 centuries ago? Well, a direct descendant uncovered the truth by sifting through more than 145 old British newspaper clippings that detailed William Adrian's dramatic saga. But think about it, combing through that many degraded, yellowed pages by hand, that would normally take a lifetime.
And this is where modern tools completely changed the game. They used AI to read faded print that traditional scanners would totally miss. The AI performed intelligent name matching, linking formal names, initials, and spelling variations across decades of newsprint.
and used contextual analysis to map out social connections. They were able to extract this incredible narrative from fragmented archives in a fraction of the time.
Today, the tailoring trade that defined them might be gone, but this family has exploded across the globe into a family tree of over 2,000 members. And thanks to digital preservation, the amazing pattern the Allerys wove through history will never be forgotten. They've been brought from dusty parchment records right into the digital age.
We really hope this explainer inspires you to look into your own family archives. I mean, every family has its own tapestry of hard workers, big dreamers, and yeah, maybe a few frayed threads. With the tools we have today, you never know what fortunes, obsessions, or mysteries you might uncover. So what stories are hiding in your past, just waiting to be stitched together?